Hello, and welcome to another video on navigating the Windows environment with a screen reader. Today we're going to take a look at the File Explorer area of Windows. Before we get started, I want to remind you that again, we will be using JAWS for Windows as our screen reader for this demonstration, but please remember that you can use any screen reader that you would like, Narrator or NVDA if you wish, or anything else that is Windows-based because the commands and processes we are going to demonstrate are completely Windows-based. Another thing to note is that your screen reader might give a little bit different speech feedback depending on which one you're using, but that's okay because the processes are going to be the same. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is File Explorer anyway? And that's a great question. File Explorer is the built-in file manager in Windows. It provides a way to navigate your computer and allows you to find, open, copy, move, and just organize all of your documents, photos, downloads, and other applications. So it's basically the way to do all of the things that you need to do with your files. So how do you open it? We open it pressing Windows key plus the letter E, Echo. There are other ways, of course. If we have it on our taskbar, we can navigate there, or if we have it from our desktop there as well, we can do File Explorer from the Start menu, but the easiest way to do it is just to press the Windows key plus the letter E, Echo. I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
Windows E. Home. List box. Recommended expanded. 1 of 2.
Now you heard it say Home List Box, and that's because we are on the Home landing screen. And that's the landing screen or area that opens in Windows File Explorer by default. It's the default landing screen, and it replaces what used to be, there was a quick access area of Windows that used to be available. But this is the new upgraded version. It basically displays a personalized dashboard of your favorites, recent files, any frequently accessed or pinned items. And these things are aggregated by Windows to be the most accessed files in a single centralized area or hub for you. Now, I just want to note before we get too far into this that there are some navigation and access issues with the home landing screen. This includes how it's organized, but we're just going to go over it anyway, simply because this is the default view and how it will be when your computer arrives to you if you're using a new computer. And it's probably how your organization has it set for you to open. And it's important to kind of know how this is. It can also provide some insight into navigating File Explorer. We're going to explore how to change this default landing screen for File Explorer in another video, but just for this one, we're going to go through the home screen and how to use it in case maybe you prefer this, and that's absolutely fine. Again, it's one large screen, and it's basically a large list with a bunch of pinned areas or a few pinned areas. It's mostly navigated with arrow keys. Tab will not do what you want it to. A lot of people think Tab will take you to the next area of the screen. And in this instance, it won't, because what it'll do is File Explorer is its own application. So if you press Tab, it will take you out of this list of files that you probably want. So don't tab here. This is totally navigated with arrow keys. So as you heard when we opened it, right now I'm focused on recommended. This is a small list, so I'm going to use my down arrow.
Recommended. List box. Notes for future video content. 1 of 20. To move to an item, press the arrow keys.
So as you've heard, I'm focused on a file called Notes for Future Video Content. I'm in a list of 1 of 20. This is kind of misleading because I don't navigate this list using up and down arrows because remember, this larger area is considered a list. So I'm going to navigate this section of the home landing screen with my left and right arrows. So if I press my right arrow key,
2025-26 tracking for WCBVI loan new 2 of 20. Accessible educational materials by Designed, 3 of 20.
So as I navigate these visually, I can see a small picture that tells me that this is a PowerPoint presentation that I'm focused on. It tells me when it was last edited and all sorts of other information that my screen reader doesn't necessarily give me, but that's okay right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this recommended area. I'm going to press the down arrow.
Tab expanded. Recent tab selected. 1 of 3. To switch pages, press Ctrl plus page down.
Now it tells me I'm in a recent tab, and it's tab 1 of 3, meaning that there are 3 tabs here that are available to me. The one in focus right now is recent. That means if I press my down arrow right now, it'll give me all of my recent files, and those are going to be organized by the date that they were accessed. I'm going to go ahead just to tell you what the other 2 tabs are here. I'm going to go ahead and press my right arrow. So the other 2 tabs are
Favorites tab, 2 of 3. To switch pages, press Ctrl plus page down.
the Favorites tab,
Shared tab, 3 of 3. To switch pages, press Ctrl plus page down.
and the Shared tab. Now, just because I hear these names, it doesn't mean that this tab is selected. If I were to press my left arrow,
Favorites tab, 2 of 3. To switch pages, press Ctrl plus page down. Recent tab selected, 1 of 3. To switch pages, press Ctrl plus page down.
this says Recent tab selected, 1 of 3. And that's what I want to hear because that lets me know if I press down arrow, anything below here will be a recent file that's under recent tabs, under recent files. So I'm going to press a down arrow here.
Notes for future video content, 1 of 103.
Now that's 1 of 103 files here that are listed. So I can navigate these in any way I want. I can continue to press the down arrow and hear them by the most recently accessed, or if I know the name of my file, I can just press the first letter. So I can do first letter navigation. I'm going to press A.
ADA Title 2, a new planning outline, 3 of 103.
So as you heard, it jumped to the 3rd item in my list. I'm going to press A again.
At COP Planning Outline dash Accessible Educational Materials by Design, 4 of 103.
Okay, it jumped to 4.
Accessible Educational Materials by Design, 7 of 103.
And this jumped to the 7th item. Now, I don't know how many files I have that start with the letter A. I do know that I only have one that starts with the letter N for notes. I'm going to press the letter N, and I want to show you what happens here.
Recommended expanded. Recommended. List box. Notes for future video content. 1 of 20. To move to an item, press the arrow keys.
My screen reader told me that I am now in the recommended list box. I have moved out of the recent. It doesn't matter. I could press enter on either one of these things and it would open the file. It doesn't matter, but I think it's important to tell you that this first letter navigation will navigate both of these areas because remember, this home screen is sort of just one large list that happens to be sort of organized in these other ways. I'm going to go down and press my down arrow to show you one more thing.
Tab expanded. Recent tab selected. 1 of 3. To switch pages, press Ctrl plus page down.
And I'm going to come down to this notes.
Notes for future video content, 1 of 103.
Now I can press the tab key.
Checkbox checked. To clear checkmark, press space bar.
This tells me that this checkbox is checked. I can press tab again.
Open file location. 1 of 2. To move to an item, press the arrow keys.
This is very important because the home landing page is not where your files are actually stored. This home landing page is sort of a hub that allows you to access the files themselves. These files aren't stored here. They're stored where you saved them. In order to do anything significant with this file other than to open it, I would need to open its file location. If I wanted to delete the file, for example, or rename it, or do anything significant with it, I would need to open the location of that file. Another thing I can do here is press the Applications key or Shift F10 to open the Applications menu to get some other things to do with this file.
Applicate copy Control plus C 1 of 2. To move through items, press up or down arrow. Alt Share 2 of 2. Open Enter 1 of 21. Alt followed by O.
And I could do all sorts of different things with this file. I could navigate this Applications file menu just to let you know that this is an available option. I'm going to press Escape.
Escape. Pop leaving menus. List box.
In another video, we're going to explore how to change the way that our landing page looks, to change where our landing page takes us, and to change what kind of information is available to us when we open our File Explorer. I hope this information has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.